Solving radical equations and inequalities is the last section in chapter 7. Solving equations, we've done this before. We just get the letter by itself. Radical means that now we've got some square roots and some cube roots and some fourth roots to deal with. But still, not a problem. Jacoby Jones dancing in the middle. Like I said, we're getting the x by itself. Not a big deal. If you want some steps, the first step is to get the square root by itself on one side of the equation. So that means we're going to have to subtract 2 from both sides. We get the square root of x plus 1 equals 2. Once you have that, we're going to square root both sides to get rid of that radical. Those cancel. X plus 1 equals 4. So square to get rid of that radical. Finally, solve for x. Subtract 1 from both sides. X equals 3. Solve for x. And your last step, yes, there is a last step. You want to check your answer. Now I know that most of you check your answer just by putting a little check mark next to it, but you do actually have to go back in and see if it works out in this. So 3 plus 1 is 4, square root of 4 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, so it does in fact check out. Our answer is x equals 3. And the girl in the picture, of course, is Allie Raceman from the Summer Olympics gold medal winning team. Let's start that process again. We want to get the square root by itself. We have realized there's 2 different square roots here. We're just going to make sure that one of them is by themselves. In this case, this one on the left is, so we're set. Step 2 is to square both sides. So I'm squaring this side, and I square this side. The left side just cancels out, giving you x minus 15. The right side, this is like 3 minus root x times 3 minus root x, so we have to do some foiling. First, 3 times 3 is 9. Outers, 3 times negative root x is negative 3 root x. Negative root x times 3 is negative 3 root x. And negative times a negative is a positive, root x squared. Over here we go, no problem. 9 minus, combining like terms, that cancels, so it's x equals x minus 15. And it may actually help to get everything over on one side. If I subtract x from both sides, I get negative 15 equals 9 minus 6 root x. Try to get the x by itself, subtract 9 from both sides. So I get a negative 24 equals negative 6 times root x. Still trying to get that x by itself, we divide both sides by negative 6. Those cancel. So I got the square root of x equals positive 4. And of course, to get rid of that square root, I square both sides. Those cancel. X equals 16. Right on. And of course, our final step is to check. Don't forget to check. On this left side, square root of 16 minus 15, square root of 1 or 1. Over here, 3 minus the square root of 16. The square root of 16 is 4. So I have 3 minus 4. That equals negative 1. Those are not equal, which tells you that this answer is actually no solution. I know, all that work and no solution. The 2 girls in the picture are your friends Kelly Pickler and Winona Judd. Halfway through our examples, you might find that this is just getting worse, but I find that if you rewrite this, it's actually not so intimidating. So we're going to take the cube root of 5n minus 1 minus 2 equals 0. Our first step is to get that cube root by itself, remember? First step, get the cube root by itself, get the square root by itself. So we'll add 2 to both sides. Cube root of 5n minus 1 equals 2. The next thing you're going to do, we're going to cube it to get rid of that cube root. Cube both sides. Those cancel, leaving us with 5n minus 1. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, or 8. Next step is to solve. Get n by itself. Add 1 to both sides. 5n equals 9, not 8, 9. Divide by 5. And we get n equals 1.8. If you want to leave it as a fraction, that's fine too. And then our last step is to check our answer. If we put in the fraction 5 times 9/5, we get, well, that's 9. So 9 minus 1 is 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Perfect. Works out just lovely. The picture is of Andy Dick, last seen on Celebrity Rehab. Our final example deals with inequalities. These work the same way as the 3 problems we've just done. The only thing you need to remember is that you multiply or divide by a negative, that sign is going to flip, just like we've done before. If you multiply or divide by a negative, the sign is going to flip. First, get the square root by itself. Square root of 4x minus 4 greater than or equal to 4. Our next step is to square both sides to get rid of that radical. No problem. 4x minus 4 equals 16. Solve for x. Adding 4 to both sides. We get 4x. Oops, I forgot about that inequality. 4x is less than or equal to 20. Divide by 4. X is less than or equal to 5. That's our answer. Again, we want to check. If we put a 5 in there, 4 times 5 is 20. 20 minus 4 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. And 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 is, in fact, less than or equal to 6. So we're good and checked. The pictures are of D.L. Hewley and Victor Ortiz. All these people today have in common is they're all competing for the mirror ball trophy on this season of Dancing with the Stars. That's all for the chapter. We'll see you in class.